Have you gone through the note that I have shared already till algorithms? No, I guess, because none is responding anyways. Fine. See, just attending classes is not enough. Whatever your faculty is teaching, that is not enough. You also have to do your bit of work. Okay, I shared the note and I expected you all to go through it because it has been quite a time now. When was your last class? It was on Wednesday, I guess. Yes. Because you got 2 days time in between. Even in then, in this 3 days time, you did not even go through it. You should have gone through it. This is very bad. This is very disappointing. Anyways, do you have any doubts from the previous class? What is yes, ma'am? You have doubts? Yes, Hem Prakash Saikya. Do you have any doubt? You have commented a yes in the chat section. So, anybody has any doubt, please speak up. Else, I am starting with today's topic. What was algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but a step by step. Please mute yourselves, everyone. Okay. So, what was algorithm? Hmm? It is a stepwise representation of a solution to a given problem, which makes it easy to understand. So, given any problem, we try to break it down into steps and we try to solve it. Yes, we try to solve it out, writing a sequence of steps, well-defined steps actually, a sequence of well-defined steps, okay, that you can easily understand and you can transform into a code later. Okay, using any programming language. So that is all about algorithm. We also went through the advantages. We discussed the various control structures like sequence, okay, where every statement in the algorithm will be executed in a sequence, one after the other. Okay, there will be no jumping between the different parts of the algorithm. Then we had the second control, which was the selection or branching, where we discussed this type of algorithm where we came across conditions. So based on a condition, if the condition is found to be true, then one part will be executed, else if it is found to be false, then the other part will be executed. So everything depends on the condition. Okay, so everything depends on the condition there. The first algorithm that we went through was a sequential algorithm where everything was executed in a sequence. So we had 6 steps and each step were executed in the sequence in which it was written. That is, first step 1, then step 2, step 3, step 4, 5, and then finally 6. Yes, also the second algorithm we went through followed the sequential control where every step from 1 to 7 were executed in the sequence in which it has been written. The third is also the same, okay, to find the perimeter of a rectangle. The fourth one, which was probably the last, I guess, yeah, so the fourth algorithm demonstrated the use of selection, okay, selection control or branching, where so this algorithm was to find the bigger of two numbers. So you know that you are to compare two numbers, yes, and if one number is found to be bigger, so if the condition is satisfied, we will be making use of a condition here, if a greater than b. So if a is found to be greater than b, so based on that condition, if this condition is true, then this part will be executed which is inside the condition, else if this is found to be false, the optional part, the other part, which is this, okay, so whatever is there inside, that will be executed. Okay, okay, so these were a few examples of algorithms. And then one more control we discussed, which was repetition. Okay, so when you are to repeat a group of statements or a single statement, so when you are doing repetition, we call that a loop. Okay, loop is when you repeat something over and over again. Okay, so we haven't discussed any algorithm for repetition. Anyways, you will understand it once we start with, you know, the C programming. Then we will discuss about repetition. For the time being, let it be this way. Okay, so that is all about algorithms. Next we come to flowchart. Now you see, algorithm is just a written version. Okay, you write it down into steps, but anything that is represented diagrammatically appears to be easier to understand than in a normal text. Yes, so given a situation, okay, if you are given a situation, that situation you have represented it in two ways. In on one hand, you have simply written it down into steps, and on the other hand, you have drawn some diagrams to depict the situation, so which will appear to be more easier to understand. Definitely the diagram. Yes, because we will make use of various symbols there, we will make use of arrows, okay, to depict the situation. But instead of, but on the in the contrast, you have the written version of the situation, so then you have to go through every word to understand the meaning. Yes, but the same thing, if represented using a diagram or a drawing, it becomes easier for us to understand. Yes, and also it appears, you know, it helps us to remember, okay, the situation, like using the diagram. So that is what, you know, the flowchart is used for. Okay, so given any algorithm, you have given any problem, you will be first designing the algorithm for it. Okay, you will be first writing down the steps sequentially to solve the problem that has been given to you. And then, okay, for a better understanding, what you will do is you will convert the same algorithm into a diagrammatic notation. Okay, and that diagrammatic notation is called the flowchart. So the definition says the same thing, it is just a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm, nothing else. Okay, so whatever you have written in every step will be you know, converted to its corresponding, to a corresponding, you know, diagram. Okay, so that is what an algorithm is. Sorry, flowchart is. A flowchart can be helpful for both writing programs and explaining the program to others. Yes, so something that you can easily understand, that also becomes easier for you to explain. Okay, so that is all a flowchart is about. Here we have, since it's a diagrammatic representation, so of course we will be making use of some symbols here. So here's a chart of the symbols, given the symbol, okay, the diagrammatic representation of the symbol, then we have the purpose, why do we use it, and the description. Okay, so where we will be using this particular symbols, and we have the corresponding description of the symbols as well. How many of you have learned flowcharts while in school or anywhere? How many of you?
मैं.
Okay, Muhammad Irshad. Then
And me.
I think there will be many students.
In Python. In Python.
Have you learned about flowcharts? Doesn't matter. Flowchart is general.
Yes, ma'am.
It is not related to a particular programming language. It is a general thing. You have learned? Okay. Anybody
Yes,
else?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And me.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
most of you know what an algorithm is, yes? So here we have some diagrams. First, this is the flow line, okay, which indicates the flow of logic by connecting the symbols. So given, so there will be multiple symbols, okay? So every step in the algorithm will be represented in terms of a symbol, okay? So whatever step you have written for an algorithm, those steps, those instructions will be just placed inside the symbols, okay? And to depict the flow, that is in which order will the flow take place, so accordingly we will use the flow line. Okay, so the flow line will simply mean that you have to go to this particular statement from this particular statement, that is it. Next we have the start or the stop symbol, okay, which is this, it's an oval. So here it simply represents the start and end of a flow chart. Next we have the input output symbol. Okay, so if you want to read any variables, when you are reading values, okay, to variables, or you are displaying the output, we make use of the same parallelogram. It's a parallelogram, so we make use of the same box. Okay, don't draw a rhombus, it is a parallelogram. Okay, so you have to be particular about while drawing the symbol. Fine. Next we have processing. Okay, this is a rectangular box which is used for processing. So the basic logic, okay, the basic logic that you will be using for your program, okay, the basic operations and data manipulation tasks, so all those will be placed inside the processing box. Okay, next we have a diamond shaped box which is used for decision making. Okay, so whenever you, just as in this case we made use of a decision, that is condition, so wherever you will be making use of conditions, okay, that means in case of selection control, there you have to place the condition inside the diamond. Okay, then we have on page connector. So this is used to draw different, join different flow line. So inside here we will be placing some variables. Okay, we will be placing some variables. So whenever you are to connect, okay, different parts of a flow chart, okay, different parts of a flow chart on the same page, then you can continue it using this symbol. We will place, okay, this, so basically this is used to jump. Okay, so here suppose you have placed a letter A, so accordingly you will find the match on the same page. So wherever this same symbol is written, okay, wherever you find this particular symbol inside and a inside, accordingly the control will be immediately transferred to that portion of the flowchart and it will start executing from there. So basically this is for jumping. Okay, next we have the off page connector. This, so whenever you are connecting different parts of a flow chart that are written on different pages, we make use of the off page connector. Then last is the predefined or predefined process or function. This represents a group of statements performing one processing task. Okay, so these are the various symbols that we will be using in flowchart. So before directly going through the examples, let us first understand the various benefits. So as I said already while defining the flowchart, we make use of a flowchart to make the concepts more clear, because something written in text, okay, something written in a diagram, written in terms of a diagram, represented in form of a diagram, appears to be much more easier to understand, yes, than its equivalent, uh, equivalent writing. So that is what flowcharts do. So it helps to clarify complex processes. It identifies steps that do not add value to the internal or external customer, including delays, needless storage and transportation, unnecessary work, duplication, and added expense, breakdowns in communication. It helps team members gain a shared understanding of the process and use this knowledge to collect data, identify problems, focus discussions, and identify resources. Finally, it serves as a design basis for designing new processes. Okay, so these are the various benefits. Please go through all the benefits, okay, for flowchart also, for algorithms also. I have already given, make sure you go through it in your during your off time. Okay. Okay, so first we will try to understand the first example where we have drawn a flowchart to add two numbers entered by the user. So as you can see here, we have represented the algorithm. So this is nothing but an algorithm that has been represented in forms of some symbols. Okay, that is entirely, it is called the flowchart. So here you see, we will first start with this start word. Okay, and as I said already, which symbol do we use to represent the terminals? We make use of the oval. Yes, so this is why we will be making use of the oval, that is during the start and stop of the flowchart. So start and stop has been placed accordingly inside the oval. Next you see, this is the flow line. That means just after the start, we will follow this direction and we will come to the next instruction as pointed by this flow line. What do we have here? Declare variables num1, num2 and sum. Okay, so first we will be declaring variables. So this is the same, this is the flow chart for the corresponding algorithm that we have discussed here. Here, this one. Start, yes, here also we perform addition of two numbers. So this is the same algorithm that has been diagrammatically represented there as a flow chart. Okay. So every step has been represented by means of some symbols. Okay, coming back to the flow chart. Okay, then here we will be declaring variables. Okay, num1, num2 and sum. Fine. So that is what will be. So for reading values, okay, for reading values we will make use of this box. So this is for declaring, sorry, this is for declaring. We are not reading the values, we are simply declaring it. Okay, reading is when you are giving input. Okay, so when you are giving input or when you are getting output, those input output statements, that is to read and to display, those will be inside the parallelogram shape. Okay, parallelogram. Okay, so here this is just a processing. We are simply declaring something, we are not giving any input. Okay, so this is a declaration statement, so it has been placed under the processing box. Next we have reading values for numbers num1 and num2. So accordingly we have placed it inside the parallelogram, which is meant for input and output. Followed by the flow line, we have the, again we have another processing box which will do the addition. Okay, inside which we have the addition instruction. So here we have made use of an arithmetic expression. Okay, so likewise we will be making use of the processing box. Then again following the flow line, we have parallelogram box, which is the input output box. So here we will be outputting. Okay, we will be displaying the value for sum. And finally we come to the end, we terminate using the stop, okay, inside the oval shape symbol. Okay, so this is how you have to make use of flowcharts. Okay, using the appropriate symbols. You cannot just use your symbols however you like it. They have a meaning, they have a purpose, so accordingly you have to use the symbols for the appropriate task. Okay, next so have you understood the previous example, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we have the second example. Find the largest among three numbers. Okay, so we will be now comparing three numbers. Previously, in case of algorithm, we looked at how to find biggest of two numbers. We have gone through the algorithm. Here we will be, this is a flow chart where we will look at how to find the biggest of three numbers. Okay, so here we will have multiple comparisons. We will have multiple conditions here. So we will try to understand in form of this particular diagram. Okay, see, we start, then declare the variables ABC. So first we will simply declare the variables. Followed by that we have another statement, which is the input statement. So accordingly we have placed it inside the parallelogram box. So we will be reading values for ABC. So basically we will be having three values for ABC, and those are the values that we will be comparing, and amongst those we will have one bigger number. Okay, now you see, first you come down the flow line, what do we have? A diamond. So as I said, we will be using diamonds for checking conditions. Okay, so whichever condition you have used in your program, that particular condition will be placed inside the diamond, sorry. Okay, so here first we will compare if A is greater than B. So that is what this instruction says. Is A greater than B? If it is yes, okay, if it is true, then since A is greater than B, now you have to compare A with C. And if it is also true, that means A is greater. So that is what the logic is. So first we will compare A with B. Okay, A is greater than B. Fine, true. You come downwards. Okay, you will have to see, you have two flow lines here. Okay, so you have two flow lines. So as I said, this is nothing but selection representation. Okay, this is a branching. So either based on the condition, you will be choosing either of the two parts. Okay, either you will follow this path or you will be following this path. Okay, so based on the condition, suppose my condition is true, A is greater than B. Okay, fine. Now I am to find if A is greater than C. If this is also found out to be true, then you will be following this line. Okay, this flow line, and finally you will print A, because you are supposed to print the biggest value. So A is greater than B, true. A is greater than C, true. Therefore print A, and finally you come follow this particular flow line and you terminate the process. Okay, suppose A is greater than B, true. Okay, you again follow this. Now A is not greater than C. Okay, that means this condition is false now. So if this condition is false, you will follow this direction. Okay, you will be following this direction. So when you follow this direction, what do you have? You follow this direction, and next what you will be doing? You will be printing B. Okay, so likewise you come towards the end. Now suppose the initial condition itself is false, that is A is not greater than B. Okay, A is not greater than B. Then what will you do? That means what? A is less than B. You follow this path. Okay, so the condition is false, so you come towards the you follow the left part. Then you come here, you have the second condition, is B greater than C. So if this condition is true, then you will be printing C and you will exit. If B is not greater than C, then you will be following the false path and you will print B, and finally you will exit. So this is how you will be making use of conditions, okay, in your flowchart. Is this clear? What you do is you
Yes,
take,
ma'am.
when you will be practicing, take any three numbers. Okay, take any three numbers and then you try to follow this flowchart and find the result. You can easily understand. Okay, so if this condition is true, follow this path. If this condition is false, you will follow this path. Now if this condition is true, you will be following this path and you will terminate. If this condition is false, you will be following this path and terminate. Likewise, even in this case, true, then this path, false, then this path. So you arbitrarily take any numbers. Okay, first you choose a bigger value for A, then you choose a bigger value for B, and then you choose a bigger value for C. So you can take many number of examples and try to find the answer following this particular flowchart. Is that fine, everyone? Okay. Next, we have a flow chart to find the average of three numbers. So this we have done an algorithm to find average of three numbers already here. Okay, so this is the algorithm. Accordingly, you have the flow chart for the algorithm here. Fine. Okay. And also you have to make sure that when you will not suppose you are given to design a flowchart directly, then you can use any symbols, you can use any variables, you can write your flowchart in any way. Okay, in any way, in the meaning it means that you can write it in, you can use any instruction. Your instruction may look like, it is up to you. But suppose you have been asked to first write down an algorithm and then you have to convert that algorithm to a flowchart. You must remember that whichever variables, okay, however you have written your instructions in your algorithm and whichever variables you have used, you have to use the instructions exactly the same way, especially the variables. Suppose you have used A, B and C for finding average. Okay, say A, B, C are the two numbers. Okay, so you have used those A, B, C to represent the three numbers in your algorithm. Then when you are asked to draw the corresponding flowchart for that particular algorithm, you cannot make use of num1, num2 and num3. You have to use A, B, C here also. Okay, and in fact the instructions, okay, see here we directly have found out the average. First we have added the three numbers and then we have divided them by 3. So we have only one statement, arithmetic statement here. But if you look at the algorithm in here, see we have two statements where we have done the processing. First we will be finding out the sum given for A, B, C. Then we will be finding the average by dividing sum by 3. Okay, so here in this algorithm we have taken, what happened? Mistakenly it was sent to you means what, Shayan? Are you not paying attention to the class? Whom are you texting now during the class?
No, ma'am, it's not means, ma'am. One message I received in WhatsApp from my parents. So parents not my friend, ma'am. So
Okay.
instead of this, it has.
So you don't look at the messages, no? You keep, even if somebody has sent you a message, you can reply them a bit later.
No, no, ma'am.
Concentrate here.
Yes,
Concentrate
ma'am.
here. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, just understand what I'm saying, okay? See, this is the algorithm. Suppose you are asked to directly draw a flow chart. Then you can use your instructions in whichever way you want to. You can have any variables, okay? It is up to you how you design your flow chart. But whenever you are asked to design a flow chart based on an algorithm, so first you have to design the algorithm, okay, like this, and then you have to convert it to the corresponding flow chart. So there in the flow chart, you have to make use of the instructions as they has been given in the algorithm. You cannot change them. Okay, if you have 7 steps in your algorithm, you cannot have 5 steps in your flow chart. You have to represent it that way. Okay, if you have used 3 variables, A, B, C, sum and average, so you have used 5 variables here, but then you cannot minimize the number of variables and use it in your flow chart. Okay, so that is what I have said. In this example, you see, this example is not a direct representation of the algorithm I showed you. Okay, so this is not a direct representation because firstly the instructions somewhat looks different, because first in the algorithm we are declaring the variables and then we are reading values. Here we are not declaring, we are directly reading values. Okay, declaration and reading of values are done in the single step. Okay, then we have also taken 3 different types of variables. There we have taken ABC. Here, there what did we do? We first calculated the sum. Okay, so we to copy the value of the sum, we used another variable sum. Yes, and then we divided the sum variable by 3 to get average. So that was a 2-step process, but here we are doing it in a 1-step. So this is not a representation of that particular algorithm which I showed you. This is not wrong. Let me tell you that this is not wrong. This is, if you want to design your own, like directly you are designing a flow chart, then you can write it in any way. But if you are converting an algorithm to a flow chart, then you have to follow the instructions that you have given in the algorithm. That is what I have said. I hope it is clear now. So you see, this is the start. Okay, you come down, then you have the input. Okay, so you will be reading values, so that is why we have used the processing box. Again, come down the flow line, that we have direct, we have used the single formula. First we will add the 3 numbers and then we will divide it by 3, so you get the average. So this is a processing done, so we have used the symbol appropriately. Then again, following down the flow line, you have to display the average that you have obtained. So again, display or output will be represented using the parallelogram box. And then finally you come down and you terminate. Okay, so this was all about finding average of 3 numbers using a flow chart. Next, on the 4th, we have calculate simple interest based on given P, R and N. So given a principal, rate of interest, and N is for the time period. Okay, the number of years. Okay, so this is for time period. So given these values, you are to find out the simple interest for, okay, for a particular problem. So here, see, accordingly we will make use of it. We will first draw the start. Okay, and always make sure that it is, or even if you are directly asked to represent draw a flow chart, make sure you first roughly design the algorithm. Okay, it is always recommended that you first, because you get the flow chart from the algorithm. So if you directly start with the flow chart, you might have confusions. For smaller problems it is fine, but for bigger problems you will come across a lot of problems. You will be confused, you might even get stuck in between the flow chart. So that is why it is always a good practice to first design the idea. Okay, design the algorithm, then you convert it to the corresponding flow chart. Okay, so here you see we have started with the flow chart using the start. Then we will be reading values for P, R and N. Then once we have all the values, then we will directly use the formula to calculate the simple interest, which is given by this. Okay, so P into R into N divided by 100. So likewise we get the simple interest. So we have taken a 4th variable I, which will hold the simple interest that you get. and then finally you display the simple interest, okay, using the parallelogram box, okay, input output box, and then you terminate. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
See, we have the last flow chart here. This is a simple flow chart which is to display good morning message based on a given time. Okay, so you have been given a time. You have to check the time and then you have to display whether it's a good morning or not. Okay, so you see, we know that the time just before 12 p.m. is morning. Okay, from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. it is morning. Once 12 p.m. starts, from 12 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. it is what? Afternoon or evening or night. Okay, but the morning half starts with 12:01 to 11:59 a.m. Okay, so likewise, whenever you will be given a time, so you have to check whether it is morning or noon. So accordingly, you have to use your own condition there. Okay, so here we have one demonstration of this particular problem. See, first we start with the start symbol, then follow the flow line, then we have input time. Okay, so you have to give one time. Okay, so based on that time, if the time is less than 12, okay, then see, as this is a condition, as we have a condition here, so that is why we have made use of the diamond. Okay, so we will check for the condition. If it is found to be true, then we will follow this path. If it is found to be false, we will follow the either path. Okay, so here if the condition is true, okay, then what will we do is we will follow this path. What do we have here? We simply have to display the good morning message. Okay, so likewise you will display the message and you will terminate the process. If your time is, if this condition is false, for example, now it is already 12:03 p.m. Okay, so for now this condition is invalid, this is false. Okay, this is false, so therefore what will you do is you have to follow this path and therefore you have to terminate it. Is that fine? You are simply asked to display a good morning message. Okay, so if you are asked to display a good morning or a good afternoon message, then here you will have to place another parallelogram box. Okay, and you have to place the display good afternoon instruction there. Okay, but since we are simply asked to display this message, that is why we have only one display instruction here. Okay, so just as based on the problem that has been asked to you, you will be performing the task accordingly. Fine. Okay, so with this we come to the end of module 1. Yes. What?
Time is keyword.
What?
Time is keywords or not?
Time is a variable.
Time is keyword or?
Time is a variable.
Oh, variable.
Yes.
It's not keyword, no?
No, you have to give time here. You have to give the time, whichever you want to use. Here we are using the time as the variable. You have to give your value here based on the, okay, based on your requirement. You will be giving some value, reading the value here, and accordingly it will be checked against the condition that you have given. Is it fine?
Okay.
In algorithms, you don't have any concept of keywords because you are not making use of any programming language here. Keywords are based